What's up, guys? We are the cleanup crew.
Collecting garbage in a bin for the local waste management company to take to the landfill. This is the norm for many of us, but this is taken for granted. Homeless people do not have this luxury, but where does their trash end up?
Between 2023 and 2025, 65% of the homeless population wasn't sheltered. However, the exact percent of trash in the San Diego River originating from the homeless population hasn't been calculated, and therefore becomes an interesting point of conversation.
But is there anything that can be realistically done about this? Or will this be an everlasting problem? Let's find out.
In order to understand the issue better, we decided to start at the core.
We need to dive into the lives of those around the river and what options they have for waste management. We would also benefit from look into the preferences of how the river affects those residing around it and what role it plays in their daily lives.
Yeah, just simply attempting to remedy the problem without understanding the lives of those who reside in the area would create issues in the implementation of a solution. They may not even prefer to use our strategy, as it can present itself as an inconvenience that would disrupt their daily lives, ultimately making it a disaster that would cost the city money for essentially no environmental gain.
Getting a first-hand view on the problem, we interviewed someone experiencing homelessness that resides near the San Diego River.
Here's our field reporter, Adam. Where are you reporting from today?
We are here underneath the I-5 highway on Friars Road in the general vicinity of a homeless encampment called the Island. Looking around the area, I see scattered trash throughout. Lots of trash bags full of trash, food wrappers, other food waste, plastic bottles, and even a bike frame.
I wanted to get the perspective of those who live in this area. So I'm standing here with Adam. Quite a good name if I do say so myself.
So my first question for you is, how do you dispose of your trash?
I put it in my bag and then I take it to a receptacle. Garbage.
Okay.
There should be more garbage cans around.
That is very responsible of you, and I totally agree with you. I was walking around and I didn't see a single trash can on the street, which is absolutely crazy to me. The city isn't exactly setting this area up for success, and who knows, maybe having a few receptacles here would encourage people to dispose of trash better.
Have you noticed any other ways people dispose of their trash in the area? Like, so it could just be like leaving it.
It's sensitive. They did it on purpose, you know, and it makes you guys hate us and judge us as a whole. It does. It makes people dislike us, you know. Not all of us don't have class.
I hear you, and I'm really sorry that people view you like that. It's not fair, and it doesn't represent how everyone feels. I don't judge you or anyone else as a whole. Everyone has their own story, and I feel like most people are just trying to get through life the best they can. I really do appreciate you sharing how you feel, and I do respect you. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
We obviously do not see the San Diego River's conditions every day, but what about the people that do, such as researchers?
Yeah. Research groups such as the San Diego River Park Foundation have spent countless hours in the river closely monitoring its condition.
Getting to hear from them and their experience with the river would be eye-opening. Listening to how the San Diego River has changed over time and what they think could have caused this change.
Well, good news. We had the chance to interview Rachel Downing, who is with the San Diego River Park Foundation and is the manager of the Clean River Initiative.
All right, so I guess the first question is, what is the mission of San Diego River Park Foundation?
Yeah, the mission of the San Diego River Park Foundation, at its core, is to create and connect the community to the San Diego riverbed and conserve it for the future. The San Diego riverbed is 52 miles long. It spans from Julian all the way to Ocean Beach. A lot of people in the San Diego area are familiar with Dog Beach. That's the outlet of the San Diego riverbed. It's where life began here in the county of San Diego. It's where our native ancestors took root. And so our goal is to create a better future for the San Diego River, conserve it, and connect our community to be invested in keeping the San Diego River healthy and clean and enjoyable.
It's great. Yeah, and the next question is, what type of trash do you guys do you see most often when you're gathering data?
Yeah, that's a great question. My team goes out twice a week, every week, and we collect trash data in the riverbed. Again, anywhere we do the urban river, so we're doing Ocean Beach to Santee. But I have a team that goes out and collects waypoints of trash and the source of trash every single week. So we've got a pretty robust data set, and we record those trash waypoints by source. So we kind of have an idea of where we're seeing a lot of trash. Within the last 5 years, we can confidently say, depending on the time of year, depending on any policy that's going on in the city or in the county, that anywhere from about 60 to 90% of trash we see in the San Diego River is somewhat associated with homeless encampments. So whether that be active homeless encampments where people are currently living and have their belongings, whether that be abandoned homeless encampments as well, where people had been living but they left their stuff, the goal is hopefully because they have left due to like receiving housing or social work resources. And then we see a lot of illegal dumping in the riverbed. So shopping carts, trash bags that are brought in, mattresses, things like of that nature, that type of trash. According to our data and just being around this trash, anecdotally, we can say about 50% of illegal dumping is also attributed to homeless encampments. So we have stormwater debris, we have illegal dumping from community members as well. We have just generalized litter, but again, according to our robust data set, we believe anywhere from 60 to 90%, which is a big spread, but 60 to 90% of the trash in the riverbed is associated with encampments. So right now, according to our data, there's about 135,000 pounds of trash in the riverbed from Ocean Beach to Santee. So about, I think right now, about 65% of that is encampment trash related.
And how do you guys think that affects the quality of the water? And do you guys test the quality of water as you go along with that trash?
We do have a water quality testing team. Our water quality testing team isn't as robust as our data collection team in the riverbed. We have done many studies. We've actually participated in a study that was put forth by the city and the county because there was an action order in the city of San Diego because the fecal bacteria in the San Diego riverbed was too high. So there was an endeavor to kind of find out what the source of that was, and one of the options was encampments. The results of that study concluded that encampments are not the reason the fecal bacteria level in the riverbed is super high. I think the overall findings of that study is old infrastructure and poor plumbing basically within the city, leading to like leaching and chemicals getting leached into the riverbed. So the encampments do still have a very negative approach, like or effect on the health of the riverbed, especially during rainy season, which is now. We have a lot of encampments that are in low-lying areas that flood when we just get a few inches of rain. So over the weekend, we did see a bit of flooding. So that means that a lot of the belongings and the contents of these camps are going directly into the water. So that includes like synthetic material, that includes hazardous waste, all of those hazards are entering the riverbed. And it's making the riverbed toxic, not highly toxic, but a little bit toxic. And it's also making it just not pretty to look at and not enjoyable by the community as well. So we believe like that the encampments do have a rather negative impact on the riverbed.
Does it seem like that's a little bit more like consistent? Like your guys' always first thought when seeing testing the water or seeing taking your data that it is due to encampments, and if it's spiking or lowering, it may be due to something else.
It depends on the time of the year. So in the summertime, we do see like a higher level of bacteria in the water, but the reason for that is because we don't get any rain in the summertime. So we see a lot less oxygenation in the water, which breeds bacteria growing. So we do see like harmful algal blooms in the summertime a lot in the riverbed, but none of that is due to people or encampments.
Mhm.
It's just due to the fact that California tends to perpetually be in a drought.
Yeah.
And when we don't get rainfall, we don't get water moving. And then when we have standing water, we see a lot of algae and bacteria that can grow as a result of that. So a lot of that has to do with California's climate and San Diego's climate in general, when we see higher bacteria levels in the water.
Well, then, other than like the seasonally changing things that we can't control, what do you guys like usually recommend or try and enact when you're trying to reduce the trash in the area?
Well, so we, besides doing twice weekly riverbed cleanups, my team cleans up anywhere from 200 to 250,000 pounds of trash out of the riverbed every single year. That's obviously something that we are doing boots on the ground to try to reduce the water quality implications of trash along the riverbed. We also, encourage our our friends and our neighbors to please never throw things out of your car on the side of the road. All of our storm drains, like in Mission Valley in these areas, those storm drains lead into the San Diego riverbed. So when we have litter on the side of the road, when we're dropping things out of our cars, when we're not putting things into trash cans, that has a huge impact on the riverbed itself of stormwater debris and trash getting into the riverbed. So making sure that the community is educated when it comes to litter removal and like disposal of their trash, because we definitely don't want to see those things in the riverbed. We also try to work very hard, that we have a part of our organization that does policy and advocacy. So taking the data that we collect twice weekly, putting it into something that is like consumable to the general public, as well as our policymakers, our council members, our district council members, who represent areas of the riverbed, and bring that information to them to try to advocate for better policy when it comes to encampments, when it comes to homeless outreach, and then when it comes to water quality, making sure that that people at the highest level understand that the riverbed is being negatively affected by some of these social issues that are going on.
Is any of this, would you consider it maybe related to a lack of areas to throw out trash in, like along the river?
Yeah, I definitely don't think that there are enough trash cans generally everywhere. We also, we're facing a bit of, an economic crisis at the moment. Dumping things at the dump are expensive. Bringing your mattress from home to the dump and a bunch of other things can cost you hundreds of dollars. And some people just can't afford that. And it's unfortunate, but dump fees are a huge deterrent for people throwing away their trash sustainably and can lead people to putting their mattresses, just throwing them off to the side in the riverbed. Car tires are very expensive to get rid of. Barbecues, TVs, things that you're not supposed to be throwing in dumpsters, based on the material. If people don't have the means to get rid of those the correct and legal way, on the side of the road or in the riverbed where nobody can see it, seems to be another like one of the second best option for some people to be able to do these things because it is expensive.
What would you and your team like to see implemented in the coming years to help like reduce this issue?
One of the things that my team is starting to try to work on is some sort of shopping cart initiative, holding grocery stores accountable for shopping carts that are taken off of their property. At any given point, sometimes we'll find anywhere during the year to 100 to 150 shopping carts in the riverbed. And these come from large stores like Walmart, Target, Home Depot. There's no consequence for these stores for not locking up their shopping carts, and they are leaching harmful chemicals into the riverbed. They are creating like dams, so the riverbed floods in some areas. They have negative implications for wildlife. Animals can get stuck in them. They're hard to navigate around, and they are very, very cumbersome to remove. They are heavy. They have things grow around them. Sometimes we're in very dense vegetation that we can't physically move a shopping cart out of. So we are wanting to bring awareness to our city council members and our store general managers that the really, really negative implications of not having your shopping carts tied up, because they are creating a huge trash problem in the riverbed. So that's just one of the things that we are working on.
When you guys go to pick up the trash, are you guys the ones who physically take out those shopping carts and like those?
We do our best. Yep. We have, depending on where we are in the riverbed, the riverbed's owned by like 30 different people. So sometimes we are out there because we're contracted by the city of San Diego or the city of Santee. Sometimes a private property owner pays us to clean up their property. Sometimes we just do work for free. And we just clean up voluntarily because we want to keep the area clean. So depending on like what we do with those shopping carts kind of depends on what property we're on, and how we can get rid of them safely and legally.
You mentioned voluntarily. Is there any volunteer opportunities for people in San Diego to help out with this issue through like programs or yeah?
Yeah. So if people are interested in the data, They are more than welcome to come out to a riverbed data survey and help us collect the trash data. So at these data surveys, we do them Tuesdays and Friday mornings all throughout the area. We're not doing any physical picking up of the trash, but what we're doing is recording locations and amount and source that help me then schedule trash cleanups based on like what kind of volunteers we're going to have, how much trash we're going to pick up, the accessibility of the area, who's going to be funding the cleanup. That all has a lot to do with it. So I run trash data surveys on Tuesdays and Fridays that somebody just has to learn how to use our mapping application, and then they can come and kind of see the scale of the issue. And then we also do riverbed cleanups every Wednesdays and Saturdays. And then once a month on Saturdays, we open up those cleanups to like hundreds of people who are interested in coming and cleaning out parts of the riverbed as well. So we've got lots of opportunities for people to be boots on the ground if they're interested in helping out their community.
Yeah, I think that really hits all my main questions. Is there anything else that you have or like statistics that you might like think are related to homelessness and as the River Park
Yeah, so I mean,
waste?
we because encampments are related to trash, we do record locations of encampments, and how many there are and where they are located. So we have again a pretty robust data set of how many encampments there actually are in the San Diego riverbed and how that number has changed over the last several years. We also conduct a homeless census 3 times a year in the riverbed, so we can get a real just a real boots on the ground type of number of how many people are really experiencing homelessness in the riverbed and how that changes over time and how that changes over seasons. Right now, we believe there's about 323 people living in the San Diego riverbed from Ocean Beach to Santee. That is not a small number. So I think it's very important to know that while we are very invested in the health and safety of the San Diego riverbed, we also are a compassionate nonprofit organization and we partner with homeless outreach groups because we are looking for a sustainable solution to ending homelessness in the riverbed. And sustainable basically to us means we're not just kicking people out so they move somewhere new. If somebody doesn't have somewhere to go, we don't believe that we should be just moving people around. We know that enforcement sometimes is necessary in some areas where there's large trash accumulation or a danger to the riverbed or to the people living there. But we work actively with the city of San Diego and the city of Santee to partner with homeless outreach organizations to try to give people living in the riverbed somewhere to go. So that way that when they leave, they won't come back. They have housing, they have shelter, they have safe camping, safe sleeping, anywhere to try to help reduce the amount of encampments in the riverbed, because we believe if we compassionately approach this issue, then we will help reduce trash in the riverbed, which is my goal. That is the whole goal of my program, is a trash-free riverbed, and we cannot have that when there are still people experiencing homelessness in the city. So I think it's important to know that we will clean things that are not active, that do not belong to people. We don't clean active encampments. We don't clean trash that's, stuff that's being used. But our endeavor is to get all of that stuff cleaned up, and we want to do that by giving people solutions to homelessness and not just telling them to get out and leave.
Yeah. How have you seen it change seasonally or yearly? Increasing throughout the years, increases more during summer or winter?
Summertime is always higher. The river, there's no water anywhere. There's lots of low-lying areas for people to camp. We see changes when it comes to policy, things that are happening in the city. Some of the major spikes that we've seen of encampments in the riverbed first happened in 2017. There was a hepatitis A outbreak. It was 2017. Yes, there was a hepatitis A outbreak the first one was the All-Star Game. So the All-Star Game came to San Diego. And when that happened, there was like a big sweep to clean downtown. So a lot of people were displaced from downtown encampments. And so naturally, a lot of people moved into the riverbed. Then we saw another major spike when there was a hepatitis A outbreak. So they were power washing the sidewalks once a week because that outbreak was not condensed, but was really disproportionately affecting people experiencing homelessness in the city. So when that outbreak happened, they were again clearing sidewalks, power washing the sidewalks every week. People in those camps didn't want to have to deal with moving every week from one sidewalk to the other. So we then saw a huge number of people move into the riverbed from that. Our last largest spike happened kind of in the middle of 2020. When the pandemic happened, we saw a bit of a delayed spike, but eventually when rental assistance stopped and when people were not working, when things were shut down. People were getting kicked out of their apartments. And then shelters were limiting their capacity of how many beds they were offering because they didn't want to overcrowd shelters and spread COVID even further. So there was a lot less shelter bed availability as well. So we saw a huge spike of encampments in the riverbed during COVID. And it has not necessarily recovered since then. We see some ups and downs. There are waves depending on what city we're in. The city of Santee has fewer encampments than the city of San Diego. So again, it's ups and downs, it's waves. But ever since COVID, we saw a huge spike of encampments in the riverbed, and we have not really recovered since then.
So the 2017 was kind of like a temporary spike, but since
Yeah, so
2020, it
the
really has
All-Star
gone
game
down.
and the hepatitis outbreak were all temporary spikes, and then COVID was kind of started a big wave of people in the riverbed. And it's also right before then is kind of also when we started to start partnering with homeless outreach organizations
Mhm.
to get the data out. We started with a lot of advocacy to bring awareness to this issue in the riverbed because a lot of people living in the riverbed had never really been encountered by social workers or outreach before. So we wanted to make sure that this population was getting highlighted so we could try to help the issue.
With the spike in 2020, did you also see an increase in maybe waste in the river as well?
Yep. Yeah, I think we saw somewhere like a 70% increase of trash in the riverbed.
Yeah.
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 Again, we've done a lot of hard work the last few years to try to get those numbers down, but we were averaging like 50,000 pounds of trash in the riverbed. And at the highest, I think 2 or 3 summers ago, we were sitting at like 250,000 pounds of trash in the riverbed. So
Okay.
we're slowly inching our way back down. We're doing a lot of hard work. A lot of it has to do with all of this outreach with like this partnership with
Mhm.
homeless outreach that we're able to start to get these numbers back down. But yeah, pre-COVID was a different riverbed.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And when you guys work with these homeless outreach programs, do they come and provide shelter? And how often does that really work? And the homeless population is willing to.
Yeah, that's a great question. Everybody's different.
Mhm.
They say that working, it's just everybody has a different timeline on when they're ready. Some people you
Yeah.
meet them and they're like, get me out of here. Some
Yeah.
people are like, I have been homeless for 15 years. I don't know if I'm ready yet. There are a few steps that need to be taken before I can get there. So, I mean, there's been a lot of grants in the riverbed recently, a lot of housing that has been awarded to people that specifically live in the riverbed, a lot of options for them with an encampment resolution grant
Yeah.
that has been going on for the last few years. That has housed over 100 people at
Oh,
least. Um, so there are steps and they are working, but some people have distrust in the system because they've been homeless for so long, and a lot of them have been burned by that said system.
yeah.
It takes a while for people living in the riverbed to trust outreach workers, but once that trust is there and it's established, and we really try to help with that, once people are ready, it's very rewarding to see somebody that we've seen live in the riverbed for many, many years
Mhm.
finally be like, okay, I'm ready, get me into housing. And then having the outreach workers that we work with, a lot of the time they work with Path. They're an outreach organization that does a lot of field work. When Path is able to place them either in assisted, like rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing, or put them in like a safe sleeping site, it's very rewarding for us to know that we were able to at least help the process along a little bit.
Yeah. And you mentioned the funding directly translated to like 100 people being able to move out of the homelessness and near the river. So the funding seems to be translating good
Yep.
to
It's honestly, you just need money.
yeah.
You just need money and good people who want to do the work.
Yeah.
It's hard work, but we work with a lot of really incredibly passionate homeless outreach social workers that are not afraid to get dirty. That's the one draw
Yeah.
of the riverbed is it's not walking on a downtown city street. You're in the mud and there's bugs and there's trees and there's poison oak and then there are people in those same
Yeah.
spots. So getting to find the people for the job can be difficult, but
Yeah.
we're making lots of headway.
Yeah. How dangerous is the river in general during like winter time where you can get random rains and
Yeah,
for
I
the
mean,
homeless
random rains
population?
are the most dangerous.
Mm.
There are areas of the riverbed that flood again with just a if you've ever been to Fashion Valley Mall, you know that it floods there if we get like a quarter inch of rain. There's just no vegetation there to suck up all that water that's coming. It's just all concrete. There's not a lot of drainage in the area. Flash flooding is so dangerous. We see swift water rescues in the riverbed during flooding, where the firefighters have to go out and rescue people that are in encampments. That has become less and less of a problem over the last few years because we do endeavor to go out and warn people of floods now before they come. But again, flash flooding, sometimes there's not enough time to get out to warn people that there's going to be flooding in the issue. So it can be very dangerous in the winter time for sure.
Yeah. And do you guys still do your data collection and all that even during the rains?
As much as we can, yeah. Any area we can get to, we will update the data.
Oh, it's great. It's good to hear about the work you guys have been doing. I was really interested when I first saw the foundation, what you guys do around the River Park area.
Homeless people do not have easy access to trash cans, and this is the main reason for their trash ending up in the riverbed.
Both Rachel and our interviewee Adam agree that there aren't enough trash cans around, which is something that we should bring to the attention to the city of San Diego to resolve. Our interview proved that there are homeless people that want to take care of our land, but it takes a lot of effort on their end when they are already at a disadvantage.
If we have sparked a further interest in this issue, there are more ways to get involved.
You can help the San Diego River Park Foundation by donating to their research and spreading the word about what is going on with pollution in our local rivers and watersheds. You can also join their volunteer team and make a direct, positive impact on the environment.
Thank you for listening, and as always, stay classy and don't be trashy.